Hi, my name is Andre Domino. My parents both came from Sicily, so I'm a first-generation Italian-American. When my parents came over, they went the typical route by living down in Little Italy in New York. I was actually born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents, both being from Sicily, I actually spoke Sicilian when I was a child, and I'm still fluent in the Sicilian language, and I have to think when I have to speak Italian. My father came to the United States with a PhD in chemistry with specializations in physics and electronics. I did know that my parents are special, and especially for the fact the way they kept our Italian traditions. We were very strong in our traditions in our family throughout all the holidays and through knowing so much about my heritage. That's really, I think, what brought my pride in my Italian heritage. My parents were a great example of community service. Throughout my entire childhood, they always worked on a number of community events and were involved in so many things in our community. And as children, we were also involved. So from the very beginning, I had a lifelong commitment to community service, which I'm continuing now in my adult. As part of my commitment to community service, I saw an opportunity to do two things, and that was combine my Italian heritage with doing that community service. So in 1990, I was involved with starting a Unico chapter in my town to join with Unico National. And so I was a charter vice president of that chapter, and I quickly became chapter president. And so for the past 20 years, I've been involved heavily with Unico National. And that was a great opportunity to combine those two things, community service and a devotion to our Italian heritage. National president of Unico, I had to choose what would be my theme for my year as national president. And I thought that this was my golden opportunity. And that's why I called my year Our Shared Heritage, Our Shared Pride. And I did a number of positive things with respect to our heritage. Unico National got involved with producing an Italian heritage calendar, which became very popular and was distributed throughout the country. We also held Italian arts exhibits to celebrate the long history of Italians in the arts, and I was involved with running a number of Italian heritage events. But right at the beginning of my term, something that occurred that really did change the entire year for me as national president. At the beginning of my term as national president, I was alerted to the fact that MTV was casting a new program called Jersey Shore, where right in the casting call, they said they were looking for the loudest, proudest, craziest, wildest Italian-American Guidos. And I knew that didn't sound very good. And sure enough, within about a month after my taking the helm of Unico, we saw our first promo of that program, and my fears were well confirmed because the show was worse than we could have imagined. And that's really what started the entire campaign that brought so much national publicity to the stereotyping and denigration of Italian Americans in that program. And I'm proud to say we forged an alliance with a wide number of organizations to work against that program. And this involved individuals, many thousands of individuals across the country, both young and old, as well as a number of the most prominent Italian American organizations. We all worked together to go against that program. We had over 11 of the national advertisers stop advertising. And we were fortunate in that we got their attention. And then when the second season of Jersey Shore came out, you saw a significant lack of Italian American references in the second season. So therefore, I consider this a victory for the Italian American community, but it's also an opportunity because we saw how working together, we as Italian Americans can really affect the outcomes of things that denigrate or stereotype us. And that's a great example of a success that we can do and how we can do more things if we work together united. Italian Americans represent a significant portion of this country's population, not only in contribution as well as accomplishment. But if we have to be criticized, I could say that there's one thing that we all can be criticized for, and that is not working together. And that's something that I would hope that we could overcome. And candidly, I can tell you, I believe that the momentum is going that direction. I believe that Italian Americans are becoming more aware of their heritage. I believe that young Italian Americans are becoming more interested in their heritage and wanting to know about the language and the culture and so forth. And this is all good and portends very good things for our own culture. Italian Americans are a culture. We're just separate and distinct from Italians. And Italian American heritage is something that we can all work towards if we work together in unity. And that's something that I would love to see us to do more of. Work together as Italian Americans for the betterment of our country, as well as the betterment of our heritage and our culture. There are a number of things that can really help the conference moving forward. The first off, as I said to you in the platform, is that we really need to have an electronic presence on the internet. That's something that we don't currently have, and any major organization should be able to be found on the internet and in other social media such as Facebook and others. And that's something that we should implement as soon as possible. Secondly, we need to attract even more qualified Italian American groups to join the organization. You know, there are other organizations, umbrella organizations like this. The one that comes to mind, of course, is the major conference of Jewish organizations. And we can strive to be like that organization by getting even more participation by other organizations that could join the conference. The third thing that I think would be important would be that, you know, we only have 2 meetings a year, and that's very difficult to get things accomplished with such a separation between times. So therefore, we need to have more meetings per year. That doesn't necessarily require everyone's presence. You know, we can do things with respect to conference calls or webinars and so forth. But I think more contact among all of our organizations can only be better for all of us. The fourth thing that we can do is I think that the conference could host annual seminars that could be helpful not only for the Italian American communities, but also for each of our organizations. And this is something that we can do on a regional basis, bring in important topics and speakers that could help the Italian American community and get notoriety for the organization as well. One that I'm very strong with, and that was in the second part of the platform that I sent to you, is with respect to our branding. You know, it's important that we do everything that we can to create that brand, that the conference is the voice of the Italian American organizations that belong to it. So branding is very important, and branding actually can pay dividends for years to come, because it becomes known that this is the organization of choice, and it will help to attract more membership as well as getting our message out even more effectively in other areas. Another thing that can be very helpful, which was the sixth plank of my platform, was with respect to establishing an executive advisory board. That the conference should publish an annual report. And this could be a well-produced, glossy type of publication that could be produced electronically as well as in print. And it could serve to be, in essence, the platform for the Conference of Presidents, but more importantly, for the Italian American community as a whole. And with an effective and well-produced annual report, it can be a calling card that can resonate around the country as our document for our community. And my overriding plank and my desire is to see that we all, as Italian American organizations and individuals, work together more effectively. Unity and unifying all of our different organizations can only serve us all the better. And therefore my overriding platform, my overriding desire is to see that the Conference of Presidents could be the vehicle to bring more relationship among these organizations and allow for greater unity in our common cause. The Conference of Presidents certainly has had a long history, and I know there's a lot of people that have worked on it in the past, and I'm glad that they have. And I say that now is a perfect opportunity to capitalize on the efforts that have been there in the past and to bring the conference to even greater heights as it works for all of us in the Italian American community.